Well, good evening to St. John in the Wilderness Church, and tonight we have the return of Between the Trees, which is our effort to sort of get to know our parishioners a little bit better and some special guests as well. And so tonight we have the Acero family with us, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves or each other. So why don't we start right here.
Okay, well, hello, I'm Tobias. I'm the eldest son of the Acero family.
And I'm Dawn.
My name's Elias.
I'm Eliana.
I'm Isaiah.
I'm Arrow.
Awesome, good job, guys. So we're so happy that you guys are here, and you have a super interesting family. I don't know if you probably have, you do have friends, of course, and you know your friends' families. I know a lot of families, but I'm telling you, your family is super special. You're just super interesting, and so I thought this would be great to get to know you guys a little bit better. Do you know why we call it Between the Trees? What do you think? Why do you think we call it Between the Trees?
Yeah.
The two trees.
Yes! Yeah, well, that's one reason, is that we have these two trees. They're not even living trees. You know, I know you guys are all about life, and they're kind of fake trees and they're kind of tacky, but still, you're between these two little trees. But the other reason we call it Between the Trees is because at the beginning of the Bible, in Genesis, there's a tree, the tree of life, that's in the Garden of Eden. And then at the very end of the Bible, there's a book called Revelation, and that has another tree of life. And there's a whole lot of stuff that happens in between in the Bible, but not just in the Bible, in our own lives. So this is just a chance to find out what's going on in your lives. So, first question that I have for you guys is, how did this whole thing come together? I mean, Dawn and Elias, how did you guys meet? And then how did your whole family start coming together?
When I was 13, I told my mom I was going to marry my soulmate. And she argued that there's no such thing as a soulmate. And what if my soulmate was in another country? And I answered that he would come and find me. And he did.
Wow.
We met at Hazelden, and I gone through treatment, and I found out that it was treatment used the Minnesota model. So then I looked up where the Minnesota model was or had started, and of course here. I'd done my bachelor's in arts here in Minnesota, so I knew my way around. So then I tried to see if I could go to school here to get training in addiction counseling.
At the graduate school in Hazelden.
It was at Hazelden, and so I came back and went to school at Hazelden where we met.
And I had been living in Taiwan for a little over 2 years and came back and wasn't quite sure what to do with myself. And I didn't know anything about chemical dependency counseling, so I thought, yeah, I'll do that.
Wow, and the adventure begins.
Yeah, and we got to be really close friends. And then one day, out of the friendship, and it was 3 weeks before graduation, and Elias's plan was to do grad school and go back to Mexico. He called me up and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm not studying for finals." And he said, "Would you like to go to a movie?" And I said, "Sure." So we went to a movie, and then we went to...
Do you remember the movie?
I remember the movie, I just don't remember what it was called. It was a bad movie.
It was a bad one.
But it was fun, though, because even though we were not dating, we were just friends. And when we met, he was in love with somebody else back in Mexico.
The plot fit.
Yeah. And I was interested in somebody, but they didn't know. We were going out somewhere together because he had lived in Minnesota and I never had it. I'm from Wisconsin. And he turns to me one day and he says, just real casually, "I know you like me." And I went, "What?" And he said, it's healthy, it's okay. But I am going to marry a Mexican and I'm going to marry a Catholic, and you are neither of those things. So you should know it won't ever go anywhere. But it's healthy. I was so mad at that presumption. So that night that we went to the movie,
Oh, that was before the movie.
that was way before the
Okay,
movie.
okay.
I thought, well, he's going back to Mexico and there's no future for us, so I might as well have fun. So I flirted every single thing I could do. I made sure our hands went in the popcorn bowl. I made sure my leg hit his leg. I never jumped in movies. I jumped all over. And he gave me nothing back.
Oh,
Nothing.
Wow.
So then he said, do you want to go to Stillwater? I said, I've never been to Stillwater. And you tell the rest.
And we walked around.
It was at night.
Yeah, it was at night, and Stillwater is very romantic. I don't know, so it's very quaint. It's very lit, and so it's very romantic at night. And so
But again, we
we
were not
walked
dating,
out
just
and-
friends.
and just talk, and I said, I'm kind of I've fallen in love, and we kissed, and we were on
I was shocked.
third.
It wasn't that casual.
I think it
He
was
said,
third
I
and
love you,
Myrtle.
and I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Myrtle Street.
It was on Myrtle Street, third and Myrtle, and when we kissed, the light went off.
That was directly across from
No.
us.
Yeah.
All the other lights stayed on, but that one went blink.
Yes, and
Wow.
so it's so it's been it's.
And then we started dating.
Yes.
Okay.
But 3 days after that is when I said I love you too, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, we
So third and Myrtle.
yeah, third and Myrtle. So some things you kind of don't forget.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then how did you know you wanted to marry me?
Before we found St. John in the Wilderness, we had no kids, and so
I like to church hop.
yes, so I went to a couple of churches with Dawn, and one of them was Eagle Brook here, close by.
Right.
They had
yeah.
a healing service,
Yep.
which I was interested, but I was kind of nervous about. I've never been to a healing service.
So there was a gal there that was crying a lot and was struggling. And Dawn, she decided that she was going to go over there and pray with her.
Well, you had abandoned me.
Well, I went for the healing. So I came back and she was somewhere else
They said
praying with somebody.
the healing service said you can do healing in all these different places and all these
Oh.
different stations. So he
Right.
said, okay, bye. And I was left alone. And then, then I saw her.
And so when you see that very automatic, very genuine kind of action, you kind of go like, okay, so what kind of a person is this?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of value in that, and it's something that I want to be close to. So, yeah, I mean that's when I knew, okay, this is a
But-
person.
But I want to be honest. I'm not that good. Because I saw her crying and she was like 10 chairs over. My instinct was not to go to her. And I heard what I think was God in my head who said, go to her. And I said, no. And I heard God, yes. And I'm like, I don't know who she is, and maybe she wants to be left alone, and maybe she doesn't want anyone coming by her, and all these excuses, blah, blah, blah. And then I heard, child, get to her, and shush.
Ah,
So that's when I went over.
wow.
And that's when I whispered, would you like me to pray with you? And she nodded her head, and I held her hand and bent over, and I prayed out loud, and then we just were quiet for a while.
Yeah.
And then when it felt right,
Mhm.
then I wished her well and stepped away.
Ah,
And I did not know I was being watched.
And we went out to dinner that day
ah.
to a restaurant right next close to
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it was good.
Yeah,
That's
we brought
beautiful.
her.
I mean,
didn't we?
that's a testament to, that is a testament to how, I think how God works, where all these things about coming together, but also the healing thing, which I know has been important in your life. And, it's an important thing in the life of the church.
Mhm.
And all of that was sort of coming together. So how did these guys show up?
fast.
You were living here.
Well, we were living here, and we didn't marry young, so we kind of knew we wanted a family.
Yeah.
So we got to it quite quickly.
I was 36 when I had him,
Wow.
38, 40, and 42, and then there were 5 miscarriages among that.
Wow.
So he was born on 18th of July of 2007.
Yeah. He's our honeymoon baby.
Yes. And he was born in Minnesota, and he was born rather fast. So fast that the doctor wasn't there, so they were pushing him in, you know,
The
just
nurse
hold on.
pushed him back in.
Wow. He's ready to get
I
going.
said, yeah, hey,
Yeah.
come on. No.
She said, "The
just hold
doctor's
on,
not
doctor's
here."
not here. Yeah.
Like, what?
Wow.
And
So we're not doing that anymore. So we went to Wisconsin for these 3,
Okay.
to St. Croix, and had a water birth for these 2.
with a midwife.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was one push and bling.
You know, it was kind of like a football player.
Yeah.
What? Boom! Ah, chicken.
They let us bring our own birthing pool in because one couple before us had tried it, but their birthing pool popped, and it caused thousands of dollars worth of damage, and
Wow.
it damaged the wooden floor and went into the basement. But I don't know why they told us we could
I
do
bet,
it.
what does a birthing pool look
So
like?
it's
Is it like a
It's a round,
kids-
blow-up swimming pool,
It's like a
It's a blow up swimming pool.
and you just make sure it's a good right temperature of water. So we had a little thermometer with a little floaty ducky on it.
Well, it seems like you get the deluxe version. If you were gonna like bury
Yeah.
if you were gonna
It wasn't
birth
a
your
plastic
child.
pool from Walmart, which was
Yeah.
nice because Isaiah took a while and I ended up falling asleep on the side of the pool, which is comfortable because it was a blow up. And then he was supposed to be a pool baby, but he disagreed with the doctors on when he wanted to be born, and he switched, so he was feet first.
Ah,
So they said cesarean with him,
yeah.
and I said, cool.
Yes.
And they're like, no, that's not what people say. But, you know, I got to have all the different experiences with each child.
Normal hospital birth, no pain medication.
Oh, he's the first who got pain medication.
Yes, he was the
That
only one
was
to get
nice.
pain
You almost
medication.
didn't get
Wow,
enough.
you are
pain.
tough.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other piece. Dawn is really, really tough
Yeah.
and hardy.
Yeah.
So.
And even after his birth, I was sitting up with my legs crossed, and the doctor's like, people don't do that. And I said, well, you didn't tell me. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Wow. Okay. Now you guys have a lot of animals at your house, right? So you don't live right here in the city right here. So where do you live?
Where do we live, guys?
Lindstrom.
Lindstrom.
Up all the way up in Lindstrom. That's a ways up there.
Small little neighborhood.
Yeah.
Tiny.
But you have like a big yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like more than a yard.
Yeah, it's 5 acres. It's 5 acres.
Yeah.
But it's out in the country, so it's very nice though.
Do you like living out in the country?
Yeah.
You do. What do you like best about living out in the country?
No loud cars or like car smells.
Yeah.
And mostly all of your neighbors' cars come through, and then our other.
I can barely hear you.
Yeah. Talk a little louder, Isaiah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing you can have when you have 5 acres out in the country is animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you have some animals because in the Christmas pageant, if you watch the Christmas pageant, we had the angel Gabriel was a bearded dragon.
Mhm.
Is that right? I thought it was, what did I say it was? I thought it was a
Iguana?
iguana.
Mm-hmm.
That
It's a
belongs
bearded
to
dragon.
Isaiah.
Bearded dragon.
And then Mary, the animal that was playing Mary, was not a guinea. It was a
It was a
guinea.
guinea
Yeah,
pig.
that's good.
Yeah, you tried something else. It didn't work.
Arrow, tell him. Tell him about the 2 people who played Mary, or the 2 animals that played Mary.
Oliver and Pirate.
So
Oliver is
You can take your mask off.
Oliver is who?
So we have 2 guinea pigs.
Okay.
And so we tried both of them out, and one just trying to avoid Arrow's hand a bit more than the other, so
the
we
first
swapped them.
one, and Pirate was the second.
And Oliver did not like it. But Pirate?
It was good.
Okay, so I'm counting 3.
Yeah.
2 guinea pigs,
Guinea
a
pigs.
bearded dragon. What else do you have?
We have 2 dogs and 1 cat. The 2 dogs, one of them is bigger than the other one. The bigger one is Waifu, he's white and black, and the smaller one is Snowball. We got him from a friend who was one of their kids who were allergic to dogs. And his color of his fur is white.
That's Snowball. What's the other one's name?
Waifu.
So Laifu's Chinese for a rhyme with blessing or lucky.
Ah,
One's a direct translation and then one's just translation.
okay.
So we got Laifu from an animal shelter, right?
Foster.
Foster. Okay.
Okay.
Foster. And so he was very scared of like everyone at the beginning.
Yeah.
He didn't. He got used to kids, then women, and then men last.
Okay.
And Snowball was just sad to leave his other family. So,
Oh.
and then the cat. We got the cat just
After Mama
yeah,
died.
yeah, after our other cat died.
Okay.
2 guinea pigs. He
What's the
wanted
cat's
some.
name?
The cat's name is Gypsy.
Gypsy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
And Arrow had wanted 2 guinea pigs, and then a friend of a friend heard that and knew someone giving away guinea pigs.
yeah. Okay.
And then we had 2 mice, but they both passed.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Their dog is
Well,
He's a
and,
snow.
and what's the bearded dragon's name?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pumpkin and what was the guinea pig that liked to be on camera?
Pirate.
Pirate. Pumpkin and Pirate. They were quite the stars. I had never seen the Virgin Mary played by a guinea pig, and it was a beautiful thing. So, Eliana, what's your favorite of all those animals? Which one do you like the best?
I really can't choose.
Oh,
I can.
I can. I cannot. I don't usually we have our specific animals that we want and then we get them. And everyone had theirs except me, but I'm hoping to get a snake.
a snake?
Yeah.
Really? I'm terrified of snakes.
I love snakes.
Really?
The thing
Wow.
is, she wants to get one that's that'll live for 30 years.
Wow. Like a big, how long does a
Well,
snake live?
Well, it really
Some
depends.
live 20 to 30, and others can live about 8 years.
Okay.
And what kind do you want?
Well, originally I wanted a ball python,
30 years.
but I'm having a bit of second thoughts due to how long it'll live, and that's how
Yeah.
my mom keeps reminding me how big of a responsibility that'll be.
Right. For her, because no one, when you have to go get an apartment, they'll say, no, you can't bring a snake into this apartment. So your mom will get stuck with it.
And I like emotional connections, and sadly, a ball python, they don't have emotional
Do any
connections.
snakes?
Yeah, some do.
Really?
Yeah, I want one of those.
Wow.
So if we were not going to get the ball python, the other one, I don't remember what it's called at all, but it lived for 6 to 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
And emotional connections, and what was it? I don't remember. There was something else.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's a good starter snake. That's what
Well,
it was.
you guys know, do you guys know who St. Francis was?
Heard of them?
So
Right.
St. Francis, yeah,
Right.
right. So St. Francis, one of the things that St. Francis is known for is his love for animals. It said that when all the humans wouldn't listen to him preaching, at least the guinea pigs and the bearded dragons would listen to him preach. But he was really, his spirituality was really grounded. His life of faith was grounded in animals and in nature. And it sounds kind of like that's a little bit like your family.
it's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. Dawn and Tobias even do some volunteer work with Rooster Redemption, Rooster Rescue Sanctuary, and stuff like that. So.
Sometimes I come.
Right.
And before I met Dawn,
Yeah.
she had a little dog who was very, very handicapped. She brought from Taiwan. Even had a wheelchair and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of.
The name of that
Carrie.
dog was Baby.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, tell me a little bit about Rooster Redemption, because that's something that a lot of folks probably have not heard of, and it's like the only one in the country.
Yeah, yeah. Rooster Redemption is an animal sanctuary, and their belief is that we are all earthlings, people and animals. We are all of the earth, and we should all be respected and loved and cared for and not used for personal gain. And roosters are one of the most thrown away creatures because they're loud, and it's very difficult to figure out the gender when chickens are little. And a lot of people see chickens as useful for their meat or for their eggs, and roosters is very limited. And a lot of schools they have hatching projects, and then what do you do with the little babies? And then people say, well, I'll take the cute little chick, and it turns into a rooster, and it's loud and it's noisy. And roosters can be cuddly and nice, but they can also be grumpy.
I have met several grumpy roosters in my life.
Yeah, or what do we
Yes.
call them, Acero? We call them, I forgot the other word, but it means grumpy. What do you call Woodstock? Well, I don't know. It's just another adjective. It means the same thing. And then there are still the gambling with the rooster fighting, where they put the razors on the legs. That is still around. And there are certain religious ceremonies where they sacrifice chickens. So this woman decided in her heart, she wanted a animal sanctuary, and she looked who needed care, and she chose roosters. So she's the only all rooster sanctuary in the United States.
Yeah.
Rooster Redemption.
Rooster
how many
Redemption.
How many roosters are at Rooster Redemption?
20 to 30.
Yeah,
Somewhere around
26,
there.
27, something
Yeah.
like that.
Another,
Oh, I was just going to say how amazing they are, because I have not had experience with roosters before. I went there, and they are all sizes. They're like this, and they're like this, full grown, and all different colors, and their vocalizations are different, and their personalities are different. They're just fun.
Do they get along?
no, roosters don't mostly get along. There's this new rooster, like they get along with us, okay, like most of them at least. Like there's this one that we started in the springtime about, and so they were all really nice outside except for 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And once we brought them in, like one of my favorite ones that used to be really nice and I could pick up and everything just outside, just got really aggressive, and so I stopped going into his cage mostly.
They're
So,
territorial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we brought him inside, and so there's like a ton of other roosters like right across from him and next to him, and so he could just see all the other roosters and everything.
So they're side by side in their enclosures, except for 2. There are 2 that hang out together.
Yeah. There's also this one new one that's pretty young, so he's seen the other side. He's not that mean yet. I don't know if he'll get me, but
He's very sweet.
he's tentative.
And sometimes the barn is super loud, and then sometimes it's really quiet. And the last time we went, it was really loud, and Tobias and I started singing, "Aye, aye, aye, aye," and the whole barn went dead silent. And I went, "Oh!" And then as soon as I went, "Oh!" then they all started cackling again.
I was doing healing touch on them.
You were. Eric was healing touch on the birds.
Well, that's a great plug for Rooster Redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so some questions are going to be coming in. It's already been like half our time, more than half our time with you guys. You're so fun. But before they come in, I wanted to ask you one more question. So Lindstrom's way up there. So why did you come down here to St. John's? Why did you first come to St. John's, and what's it about church that's important for your family?
So we came to St. John before we had children. And the reason we came here is because Dawn was, how would you describe yourself before St. John's? I was Catholic.
I was
Traditional.
Presbyterian.
She was Presbyterian. So to find a church that's in the middle and she's not gonna have, like, she asked me once, if I would even contemplate her converting to Catholicism. I said, no, wait a second. No. And but coming here, it's halfway there. It's between the two worlds.
Yeah.
And she and I could have communion. And one of the biggest things for me was communion. And being able to have communion with her, because if I'm at the Catholic Church, she cannot come up to communion with me. That is not communion.
Yeah, right. That's hard.
So for me, it was us both as a family walking up to have communion.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. And since they're little, the whole church has seen us grow as a family.
Yeah.
And be here, not consistently, but we're here.
Well, you guys shake it up too. When this whole COVID thing started going, you sent some letters out to the congregation, to some parishioners. I don't know if your mom made you sit down and write these letters, but I tell you what, it was fantastic. Our parishioners, those who got your letters, it made a huge impact on their lives. So you have a cool family, and you're reaching out into our parish, and it just makes a huge difference. So, appreciate it. It's such a great witness, because that's what being a community is all about, showing that you love each other. So, okay, so here comes the wonder stick, and tonight
It's Mickey Mouse.
Okay. It's Mickey Mouse hands. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
No, it's not a Mickey Mouse hand. Okay. So, oh, that's a pretty good one. Usually I just go, oh, here's a great question. Whoever did this question, this is a question for you kiddos. What do you most appreciate about your parents?
Wow, what I appreciate most about them, I think, would be the lessons they taught me. Just because it's really great to see how we were able to impact everywhere, and just how much they taught me about life and how to live.
Yeah.
And it feels good to live like this. So.
Yeah. Good. Good answer.
Talk to
What,
Lily.
what I like about my parents is that they help me with school, and I like it because they taught me about how to live maybe when I grow up, and one time my mom said, "Do you want to try out tennis?" And I said, "Yeah, sure," and I got really good at it, so I thought I would be really intense.
Oh, that's great.
Errol, you're gonna say something?
So, my
To the camera?
appreciate thing about my parents is that they taught me a lot, and they make food for us to survive.
Good food, good food.
They don't let you starve. That's all. That's always a nice thing. Yeah.
And that's all.
Okay.
I love how thoughtful they both are, because they think about everything. And my mom, whenever she finds a new thing that she doesn't know about, she goes and researches every little thing about it. And then my dad will help her through the things that she doesn't know, and he can read her pretty well, so he'll know when something's up or when he needs to help. And I really like how connected they are too.
Which is a great segue into a question I have for Elias, you and Don. and it's not my question, this is, so you can blame whoever this is. But what's your best marriage advice? Just look at you guys, you're holding hands, you look like you really like each other.
Yeah.
When we were going to pre-marriage counseling, the priest or the what's his name? I can't remember.
Mark.
Her
Pastor.
said
We did
double triple.
these glasses. We did double marriage counseling actually. We had 2 people we saw.
And so he said, just be mindful that Elias comes from Peace World, and he really did get it.
Oh,
I come from Peace World, and so my job at home is to keep the peace. And sometimes that's just compromising and saying, no, we're gonna do it this way, right? Or we're gonna, or we can meet halfway or something, or something like that. But a lot of it is listening, and knowing that they're not right or wrong. It's just, each one of us has a different opinion, and being able to validate that opinion. And so, we just try to do our best, and knowing, the other thing is, I think, that knowing that we're imperfect, and that's good. Being imperfect is good.
And I do not come from Peace Land. And I don't always agree that neither of us is right or wrong. I come from Fun Land. But what that pastor said was to be mindful of each other's airbag. So the thing that pumps you full of life. And for Elias, that's peace. So I don't ever want to step on that peace and suffocate him. And he doesn't want to step on my fun and suffocate me. That was really good.
That is. He's pretty fun though. This summer when we did the canoe trip and you filled up your whole canoe with kids, I was kind of worried about you actually. But
Well, we managed.
yeah, it was fantastic. You more than managed. It was great. You went around the whole island. So, yeah, that's good advice. Thank you. Okay, kids, another question. Have your parents ever embarrassed you? Like tonight, probably, or
Not tonight, not yet.
not yet tonight. Okay. Can you remember a time when it was kind of embarrassing?
Go, Liana. You were very enthusiastic.
Yeah. I was in first grade, and my dad. So we could invite our parents to come to lunch with us. So my dad was coming to lunch with me, and I was telling all my friends that he was coming, and it was very exciting because that's the only time I remember one of them coming to lunch with me. And then he got there, and the thing was that we got our food, and we had to have 2 fruits and a vegetable. And so we got them, but we never really ate them. So when my dad came, he hand fed me the lettuce. And he was pushing it in my mouth, and I was a little embarrassed.
Why did you do that? You hand fed lettuce. Did you think she was like a bearded dragon?
Well, in my world, you don't waste food, right? So you eat the food. It's just little, so, come on.
So Elia, I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead. So that was it, yeah. So feeding you, and were your friends watching? Thinking that's strange.
They had their heads down.
They were probably thinking your dad's the coolest thing ever. Okay. Any other embarrassing
Not that I
stories?
can think of right now.
No.
How about you? Do we embarrass you?
No. Okay.
I guess.
Okay, you ready? Here's the next one. Who is your favorite aunt or uncle?
They don't have a lot. They don't have a lot. They have.
Well, that makes it easy if you had like one aunt or uncle. That could be your favorite.
Would you like to know who asked?
Sure. And Coyote.
Somebody by the name of Kathy Sol.
That's Aunt Coyote.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you better answer faster, you guys.
A favorite aunt asked that
Uh-huh.
question. Okay, that's funny. Okay.
Next
Okay, this is another question for the kids here. What do you want to be when you grow up? Have you thought about it?
Okay, well then.
While
yeah.
you're thinking about
Tennis player. Yeah.
A what?
A tennis player.
A tennis
it.
player.
Oh,
camera.
a tennis player. Like a professional tennis player. Wow, you must be really good. That's good. I like playing tennis, but I'm not very good.
I have no clue what career I should have, but I would like to be a philanthropist. Very selfish that way.
Very nice. That's part of the way of love is philanthropy, giving away. Giving is better than getting. So,
I want to be a zookeeper.
a zookeeper. That does seem really fun. If you had any animal to take care of, what would you?
Penguin.
The penguins? Really? The penguins, huh? I never thought that. I thought you'd say something like the tigers or the
Penguin
elephants.
or polar bear?
Okay, polar bear,
Right.
yeah.
I also think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd want to do like a
Well,
polar bear.
what do you want to
Oh
be?
yeah, I'm
What do you want?
I've always wanted to be an artist because I love doing art, and ever since kindergarten, when people started giving me the compliments, I've loved it, and I still love it. But I've also thought about acting because I love acting. I love being on the stage, but I always get nervous because I'm very shy, and I don't like being the center of attention. But when I have like two moods, and if I'm in one mood, I'm very shy and I don't like to come out. But in this other mood, I am very open and I like to get attention.
The only stage you've been on is like for school songs where your entire grade goes up onto the stage.
She's in Mulan.
Oh yeah, you did in Mulan a bit, but that was like mixed into a group of 20 kids.
Yeah.
But she was amazing in Mulan because she had just had surgery. And so she was crying before her performance from pain.
Oh no.
And then she went on stage and did her part and came off in tears and then dried up and went right back on.
You know what I hear is a lot of actors that are shy, but then when they're acting, they get into their part and they're just being that person. So good for you and great. I mean, we need more art and act the arts. We need more of. So yeah, fantastic, great job. Oh, I don't even know what time it is. Okay, we have about 2 more minutes. Anything that you guys want to bring up that, any questions you have for Carrie? No, okay. Well, thanks so much we actually have to end before, so that they have time for the Bible study, but this has gone like so fast, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going very fast.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being part of our community, for being willing to be part of Between the Trees. And it'll be awesome when we're all back together. But
Yes, it will be.
in the meantime, I'm sure your mom will have you writing letters to us all. So,
Uh-huh. I
anyway,
tend to get them into projects where they have to do a lot of work.
fun projects. Actually, you guys were on our Fresh Expressions worship this past Saturday night. Fantastic. I loved it. You know what I love? I mean, I love Dawn's reading of the poem, but you know what my favorite part of what you guys did was? The Lord's Prayer. And I know you sort of messed it up, but I messed up a lot sometimes when I'm even up at the altar. So it was fantastic. I love seeing you guys say the Lord's Prayer together. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and thanks to all of you who joined in tonight. Next week for Between the Trees, Linda Carpenter, who is our outgoing senior warden and altogether very cool person, she is going to be with us. So stay tuned for that. And if you're a member of St. John the Wilderness, try to remember that this Sunday is our annual meeting. So that begins at 12 o'clock noon, and we hope you can be part of that as well. So many thanks to the Acero family, for Carrie,
Thank you.
for working behind the scenes, and we'll